Hi guys, I'm your English teacher Kay with ISpeakSpokeSpoken.com, and in this video, I'm going to show you 20 commonly mispronounced words in English. And don't forget, you can click here to download the slides and take a quiz at the end to make sure that you have your pronunciation down. So let's look at our list of the 20 most commonly mispronounced words. First, we have aisle. In this word, the S is silent. We don't say isle, just like the word island. We don't say the S. So we pronounce it like aisle. We don't say isle, it's aisle, aisle. For example, when I go to the grocery store, I look for the dairy aisle. Good. And number 2, we have a French word that we have adopted into English, but the pronunciation for us is bouquet. It's not bouquet, bouquet. And we stress the first syllable, bouquet, bouquet. For example, I make a bouquet with flowers from my garden. And number 3, cupboard. We stress the first syllable, and in this word, we don't say the P sound. We don't say cupboard, we say cupboard, cupboard. For example, I take a glass from the cupboard. Good. And number 4, we have data. So often this word is pronounced data, but for me, I'm used to pronouncing it like data. You'll hear both ways pronounced, but most often it is data. And we stress the first syllable, data, data. But for me, it's data. And number 5, we have debris. This is another word with a silent S. We don't say debris, we say debris. And we stress the second syllable, debris, debris. Very good. And number 6, another French word which has snuck into English is etiquette. And we pronounce it etiquette with stress on the first syllable, etiquette, etiquette. We don't say etiquette. No, we say etiquette, etiquette. Very good. And next we have February. Now this one is tricky because although there is an R, 2 R's in this word, we don't say the first one. We pronounce it like February, February, not February, February. Good. And number 8, we have gauge. It sounds like gauge, not gouge, not gauge, gauge, gauge. For example, I check the air pressure on my tires with a gauge. And number 9, we have genre. We stress the first syllable, genre, genre. For example, what genre of music do you like? And number 10, we have height. So this ends with T, and it may look familiar with the E-I-G-H as in the number 8, but we don't pronounce it like hate. We pronounce it height with the long I sound. Height, height. For example, when you go to the doctor, they measure your height. Very good. And number 11, we have jewelry. We stress the first syllable and we pronounce it jewelry, jewelry. One more time, jewelry. Good. We don't say it jewelry, we say jewelry. For example, I love to wear jewelry. Number 12, we have leisure. We stress the second syllable and we don't say leisure, we say leisure. One more time, leisure, leisure. For example, don't rush, you can complete this at your leisure. And number 13, we have miniature. We stress the first syllable, miniature, miniature. We don't say miniature, that sounds strange. We pronounce it like this, miniature, miniature. For example, my sister loves to build doll houses and build miniature furniture. And number 14, we have mischievous. We stress the first syllable and we generally try to keep it to 3 syllables. Even though there's a lot of letters in this word, repeat after me. Mischievous, mischievous. One more time. Mischievous. Good. For example, that naughty little boy is mischievous. And number 15, we have niche. I know this word is spelled a little funky for an English word, but remember it's pronounced niche, not niche. Niche. Good. And number 16, we have prescription. We stress the second syllable, and remember we say prescription, not prescription, prescription. One more time, prescription. Good. And number 17, we have reservoir. We stress the first syllable and we pronounce reservoir, not reservoir, reservoir, reservoir. One more time, reservoir. Good. And number 18, we have salmon with stress on the first syllable. This is another word where we don't pronounce the L in the word. We say salmon, salmon, not salmon, salmon. Very good. And number 19, we have vegetable. We stress the first syllable and the second E is often dropped. For example, vegetable, vegetable. Very good. And finally, we have number 20, Wednesday. In this word, we tend to drop the D and we pronounce it with stress on the first syllable, Wednesday, Wednesday. So let's go back and double check our pronunciation. Number 1, aisle, aisle. Once again, aisle. Very good. And number 2, the first time around I may have pronounced it wrong, my apologies, but make sure that you are stressing the second syllable, bouquet, bouquet. Once again, bouquet. Good. And number 3, cupboard. Don't forget, we drop the P sound and we stress the first syllable. Cupboard, cupboard. One more time, cupboard. Very good. And number 4, often pronounced data. Stress the first syllable, data, data, or data. Very good. And number 5, debris. Again, we don't say the S sound in this word and we stress the second syllable, debris, debris, debris. And number 6, etiquette. Stress the first syllable, etiquette, etiquette, etiquette. And number 7, February. We stress the first syllable and we drop that first R sound. February, February. One more time, February. Good. Number 8 is gauge, and remember, it's not gouge, it's not gouge, it's gauge, gauge. Good. And number 9, genre. We stress the first syllable, genre, genre. Once again, genre. Very good. And number 10, height. Don't pronounce it like the number. Remember, this makes the long I sound. Height, height. Once again, height. Very good. And number 11, we stress the first syllable and we pronounce it like jewelry, jewelry. One more time, jewelry. Very good. And number 12 is leisure, with stress on the first syllable, leisure, leisure. One more time, leisure. And number 13, miniature. Stress the first syllable, miniature, miniature. And number 14, mischievous. Stress the first syllable, mischievous, mischievous. One more time, mischievous. Very good. And number 15, niche, niche. Once again, niche. Good. Number 16 is prescription. Remember, it's prescription, not prescription. And we stress the second syllable. Prescription. Prescription. One more time. Prescription. Good. And number 17, reservoir. And number 17, reservoir, we stress the first syllable, reservoir, reservoir. One more time, reservoir. Good. Number 18, salmon, we don't pronounce that L and we stress the first syllable, salmon, salmon. Number 19, vegetable. We tend to drop that second E sound and we stress the first syllable, vegetable, vegetable. And last but not least, number 20, Wednesday. The D is silent and we stress the first syllable, Wednesday, Wednesday. One more time, Wednesday. Very good. And don't forget, click here to download the slides, or you can click on the link in the description down below and you can leave any comments or questions. Don't forget to take your quiz to make sure that you've mastered the pronunciation for these words. So let's go back and look at the meanings of these words because, of course, pronunciation is very important and understanding the meaning of these words is also very important. Number 1, aisle. Remember the S is silent. This is a corridor or a section of shelves in a grocery store or a shop. For example, I am looking for milk in the dairy aisle at the grocery store. And number 2, bouquet. This is a bunch of flowers that you make. For example, I made a bouquet with flowers from my garden. And number 3, a cupboard is a shelf behind a door in the kitchen. For example, I open the cupboard door to take a glass. And number 4, data or data. This is usually numerical information that's used for research, for scientific purposes. For example, in my research, I have to collect data. Number 4, debris. This is rubbish or waste. For example, I go outside and sweep up the debris from the driveway. And number 6, etiquette. This is a set of rules or expectations to be polite or well-mannered. For example, it's very important to have proper etiquette during a job interview. And number 7, February. Of course, this is the second month of the year between January and March. For example, Valentine's Day is on February 14th. And number 8, gauge. For example, I have to check the pressure of my bicycle tire with a gauge. So this can be a tool for measuring, or it can be the kind of measurement that you do. For example, checking the air pressure in a tire. And number 9, genre. This refers to a kind or a category of music, film, etc. For example, my favorite music genre is hip hop. And number 10, height. This is how tall someone or something is. For example, I go to the doctor to check my height. And number 11, jewelry. This, of course, refers to accessories like earrings or a necklace, a bracelet, or rings. For example, I love to wear jewelry. Number 12 is leisure. And this refers to free time, downtime, time that's not spent working. Or when you do something at a slow pace. For example, I like to cook at a leisurely pace. I don't like to be rushed. And number 13, miniature. This refers to a small or a tiny version of something. For example, my sister likes to build doll houses. These are miniature versions of real houses. Number 14 is mischievous, and this means poorly behaved, perhaps even naughty. For example, the 4-year-old little boy stole a cookie from the cookie jar. He was mischievous. And number 15, niche. This refers to a small segment of a category. For example, a niche market. And number 16, prescription. This is the note that a doctor writes for you to take to a pharmacy so that you can receive your medication. For example, for my pain, I went to a doctor to get a prescription for pain medication. And number 17, reservoir. This refers to something which is saved or held back. For example, in nature, there are water reservoirs that are held behind a dam. And number 18, salmon. Remember, we don't say the L in this word. Salmon is a kind of fish which lives part of its life in the ocean and at the end of its life returns to the same stream it was born in to lay its eggs. For example, my favorite fish is salmon. And number 19, vegetable. Of course, when you go to a grocery store, you have fruits and vegetables. My favorite vegetable is broccoli. And number 20, Wednesday. Remember, we don't say the D in Wednesday. This is the day which comes after Tuesday and before Thursday. For example, I have language classes every Wednesday. So don't forget to practice pronouncing these words and use them in sentences so that you can really improve your pronunciation and your fluency. So you can click here to download all these slides and take a quiz at the end. Again, my name's Kay. It's been great teaching you today with ISpeakSpokeSpoken.com, and I'll see you next time. Bye!